Kagurabachi chapter 32 is here, and Chihiro and Hakari are leveling up at the Rakuzaichi. Let's get into this newest chapter. So the chapter begins with the leader of the Hishaku knowing that Chihiro is leveling up with Cloud Gouger. Chihiro busts out of his sorcery and goes right through his arm. Chihiro cuts through, but the next thing he sees is the arm that he cut off, and it's been thrown at his face to blind him. He ducks down, but the guy is right behind him. Chihiro runs away, but comes back and stabs him in the chest. And this guy spits out blood, but Chihiro realizes that he took that hit on purpose, and then he gets some space from him. And the Hishaku leader even says Chihiro is leveling up, but Chihiro just does not understand who he's fighting. And he knows the leader of the Hishaku wants him to keep on using Cloud Gougers till it dies, and Chihiro's trying to think of ways to use it before it runs out. Then he starts wondering about Hakari and Shiba, and he realizes he needs to get out of there, but he needs to use Cloud Gouger smartly. The leader's like, do you want to continue? But Chihiro's like, I will kill you. Then we cut back to Hakari. And Sayu's like, I'm really on the edge. I can't keep doing this. He throws, then kicks Hakari. And he's saying, this is all you ever do, curl up into a ball. Hakari is weak. But Hakari recognizes black lightning, and he wonders if that's Chihiro. Sayu's just saying, like, how is it that you like Chihiro more than me? I'm your brother. I love you and all that. He doesn't really love you. He's just gonna leave you. I'm your actual brother. Like, love me. But Hakari's like, that's not how Chihiro is. We see a flashback. Shiba is telling Hakari that he can use his sorcery because everybody has spiritual power inside of them, and that creates sorcery. It seems like Hakari already has this inside of his body, but he is not strong enough physically to use it. And Shiba says it's because all of his life he's been put down by his family. He really just does not have enough confidence to do it. He's been told time and time again, you're a failure. Now that Hakari has finally gotten some words of kindness from people and finally found somebody who sees him as valuable, and that gives him confidence, and he's able to use ISO. But Saya and Hakari realize, like, all he did was push him. He didn't do much. But then something breaks, and Chihiro breaks through and slashes Saya in the back. Chihiro says, Hakari, we gotta hurry, and Hakari's like, right. The leader of the Ishaku's like, well, that exceeded my expectations, and this guy is level-headed. But then behind him, we see Hiyuki, so she's pulling up next chapter. But this was a great chapter, guys. Hakari finally uses ISO. Chihiro gets away from the leader of the Ishaku, and Hiyuki is pulling up. I'm interested on their dynamic. I don't know what it's really going to be. He made Chihiro who he is today, but what's going to happen now? I just hope the Shishaku leader lives up to the hype. But let me know, guys, what you think about this newest chapter of Kagurabachi. Hokuzono keeps on cooking. Kagurabachi chapter 33 gave me Dragon Ball Z levels of hype, and everybody is leveling up in this chapter. Kagurabachi is finally catching its stride. Let's talk about this newest chapter. So the chapter begins with Chihiro taking down Hakari's brother Saya, and Hakari asked if Chihiro beat the guy he was fighting, and Chihiro said no. Chihiro could not defeat the leader of the Hishaku, but then Hiyuki pulls up, and she says, were you rejected? Here, I'll comfort you. And then we see Tefuku took out those other characters from the previous chapter, but the Hishaku leader says, no, I'm completely satisfied. He met Chihiro and he's seen how he's doing, and now he's just gonna wait and see what comes of him. And then he says, only the Sazanami will risk their lives today. And then he vanishes using some sorcery, but then the Sazanami pull up on Hiyuki. And the Sazanami knows she's with the Kaminabi, but they're still gonna kill her. And they're just saying their brainwashed stuff, the Rakuzaichi is supreme, it's everything. But then there's a flashback, and we see Hakari with his other brother, Tenri. And Kiora says that the Sazanami stand at the top, and that these two are special. And they question, like, we're special? He says, because you're special, you need to be strong. You need to protect the Sazanami clan. We reign over everything. And he says, over all those years, nobody has violated the Sazanami until you see a lighter and Shiba is smoking. The next thing we see is he's on top of Tenri right here and putting the cigarette to his eye. He's just trying to figure out how to open this door. He took out all of the two. He is one of the strongest in the verse for sure, and he is just cold as hell. One of the Sazanami brothers says he'll tell Shiba how to open the door. But then Tenri says, no, he won't let that happen. And Tenri thinks back and says that Hakari tainted the whole family. And he was the youngest person to make it into the two. And his father is proud of him. He's like, you're the youngest to make it in here. He says, I'm not showing you favoritism because you're my son. It's because you earned it. Then something appears in front of him because Kiwara did it to him when he was on the top floor. And then we see that Dayton Rock, and the leader of the Ishaku is talking to Kiwara. He says it's Sojo's legacy because Sojo was trying to develop that rock. He was trying to come close with the Mystic Katanas. He was manufacturing this rock. He was just trying to get close to it, and this is what he left behind. Right here, they're trying to do the same thing that Sojo did. They're trying to unleash the power, and some people can't do it. And Tenri tries to do it right here. And he unlocks this electricity jellyfish form. This is exactly what Sojo was trying to achieve, but he couldn't do it. Tenri could do it now, but will he survive after this? And Shiba's even confused about this, and then Chihiro sees it. They're trying to run away, but Saya gets up. He says, enough, you're dead. And then Chihiro tries to attack, then Hakari pushes him away. He says he will handle Saya, and that's the end of the chapter. This was a really great chapter. Every single person is leveling up. We saw Shiba's power. We're seeing Hakuri's new power. We saw Saya power up. We saw Tenri power up. We saw the leader of the Ishaku. We saw Hiyuki. All these characters are coming into play and we're reaching the climax of this arc. This is definitely one of the best chapters in Kagurabachi. All the established characters and everything that the plot has been building up till now finally paying off, and I can't wait to see what happens next chapter.